Hi, and welcome to ABI Research's Ask the Analyst. I'm Nick Marshall, one of ABI's analysts covering topics in our small cells and carrier Wi-Fi practices. Today's question asks us to take a look at the recent Mobile World Conference in Barcelona and to preview the upcoming 7th Annual Small Cells and Carrier Wi-Fi Asia Conference run by Avren Events in Singapore next week on April the 7th and 8th. At the start of 2014, we find ourselves at an exciting point in the evolution of mobile networks and infrastructure. In fact, I believe we're about to witness one of the biggest changes to RAN architecture to occur in a long time. Today, the number of mobile connections actually exceeds the worldwide population as smartphones, tablets, and other wireless devices connect to networks to satisfy our insatiable demand for data. We find that networks are evolving to HECnets as mobile network operators strive to densify their networks to handle the increasing demand for data capacity. We believe there's no single approach to network densification, and that multiple techniques can be brought to bear to densify a network depending on the particular deployment scenario. The techniques in this network densification toolbox involve a combination of the access network with Wi-Fi, DAS, and licensed micro, pico, and femto small cells. The complexities of deploying small cells involve not only the small cells themselves, but also challenges surrounding power provision, siting, and backhaul. This is a complex set of problems, and leading equipment vendors, infrastructure owners, and systems integrators are stepping forward to offer professional services such as small cells as a service and turnkey build, operate, transfer contracts to help deploy small cell networks for the mobile network operator. These approaches can help manage the complexity and achieve the quality of experience that the subscriber demands. Since almost all smartphones and tablets today include Wi-Fi, there is a strong requirement to include Wi-Fi in the small cell, where the MNO can use carrier Wi-Fi as a viable alternative to LTE for data and to relieve congestion on their networks. Initiatives like the Wi-Fi Alliance's Passpoint and the Wireless Broadband Alliance's Next Generation Hotspot will render the access to Wi-Fi secure, seamless, and transparent to the subscriber, even allowing for the choices of access network to be done under MNO policy control. In fact, ABI Research expects that MNOs will soon be able to treat Wi-Fi as an extension of their existing cellular networks. So let's move on and look at what the highlights were for small cells at the Mobile World Conference. There were many small cell related announcements at Mobile World Congress, and we pick out some of them here. Firstly, the Small Cell Forum published its Series 3 set of documents, Urban Foundations, which tackles urban small cell deployments. This follows on from December's Enterprise release, and this Urban Foundations release discusses market drivers, business cases, architecture, self-organizing networks, cellular and Wi-Fi integration, backhaul, and deployment advice in 18 separate documents. The next announcement we picked up was NSN extended its FlexiZone small cell portfolio to include now TD-LTE, adding more bands and also incorporating Wi-Fi, and adding a new FlexiZone controller along with a new FlexiZone picocell, which they claim is the industry's smallest and the only indoor small cell with the same capacity and software as a macro base station. Also at MWC, Ericsson's Radio Dot seemed to be picking up real momentum. In addition to the previously announced trials with AT&T and Verizon in the US, Ericsson announced trials with Vodafone in the UK, Telstra, Australia, MTN Africa, SoftBank in Japan, and Swisscom in Switzerland. Alcatel-Lucent announced the deployment of small cells in the Verizon network in both indoor and outdoor locations. The company also announced that TIM in Brazil will deploy its 3G femtocells in its network to help improve coverage and capacity for TIM subscribers. NEC announced an upgraded version of its eRAN solution for enterprise deployments. The solution features multi-mode small cells, an upgraded small cell gateway, previously only available in 3G and Wi-Fi, versions, the new ERAN now features LTE, 3G and Wi-Fi connectivity. IP Access unveiled a new class of small cell designed around the idea of presence. The 3G presence cell will capture data and features such as phone location to enable a range of new solutions, including retail analytics, mobile finance and mobile promotions. Also, variants of the presence cell are under development for LTE. The semiconductor baseband suppliers were also busy at MWC with some notable announcements. TI announced design-ins at NSN for FlexiZone, PureWave, Quantenna and Airspan. Broadcom announced design-ins at Datang Mobile and Quanta Computer. Qualcomm announced that it will provide Cisco with SoCs for multi-mode enterprise small cells. Freescale introduced its next-generation Core IQ Converse small cell SoC, the B3421, which integrates the digital front-end of BFE for improved PA efficiency. Cavium announced its Unifran, which is an end-to-end software solution unifying 3G and 4G small cells with macro base stations and Cloud RAN. The software will run on the company's Opteon and Opteon Fusion processors and permits the same applications to run across the full range of cells from small to macro and CRAN. What were the MWC in Asia highlights for carrier Wi-Fi? Cisco, AT&T and Acurus deployed a Hotspot 2 network at MWC for a single sign-on service across multiple venues. Cisco reported that over the 4 days, 81,000 devices generated a total of 19.1 terabytes of traffic, which was a 300% increase from MWC last year. Pretty impressive. The WBA hosted its first ever carrier Wi-Fi summit, which ran over 3 days and included more than 30 speakers, including AT&T, WBA, Ruckus, KT, China Mobile, SKT, Orange, WFA, DeviceScape, GSMA, Small Cell Forum, Cisco, Comcast, Boingo, iPass, and British Telecom. Looking forward to next week's Avren Small Cells and Carrier Wi-Fi Asia event, we note that in Asia we see a very active ecosystem with Tier 1 carriers deploying Wi-Fi networks, and we can get a good idea of who is involved by looking at the WBA's Interoperability Compliance Program, or ICP. The ICP trial participants include AT&T, Boingo, BT, China Mobile, NTT, Docomo, KT, Orange, TCCW, Smart, Shaw, True and TNM. In South Korea, which is one of the densest countries in the world for Wi-Fi coverage, we find all the major MNOs are deploying Wi-Fi. SK Telecom, KT and LG U+, where they are reporting that LTE use generates more Wi-Fi use, not less as you might expect. As a result, MNOs like SK Telecom are installing nationwide Wi-Fi networks in a big way. SK Telecom's Giga Wi-Fi network supports up to 1.3 gigabits per second using Aero 2.11ac. KT, the country's second operator after SKT, is following in the same footsteps and launched its own Wi-Fi service in Seoul and plans to extend its Wi-Fi networks to other cities. In Japan, the MNOs are also focusing on building their own individual extensive Wi-Fi networks. SoftBank has several 100,000 hotspots deployed, which makes it the owner of the largest Wi-Fi network in Japan. Also, KDDI and NTT Docomo operate large Wi-Fi networks. China Mobile, the largest mobile operator in China and the world, and an active member of the WBA, has deployed over 4 million hotspots so far and is planning to reach 6 million by 2015. The operator relies heavily on its Wi-Fi footprint to offload data. In fact, Wi-Fi data makes up 73% of the total traffic today, compared to just 50% in 2010. So that completes our summary of what's happening in the world of small cells and carrier Wi-Fi. I hope you found it useful. So before I sign off, I wanted to mention that for more in-depth analyses on this topic and many more, you can find that in our small cells and carrier Wi-Fi services in our website. So thanks for listening today, and please don't forget to submit your questions to asktheanalyst@abiresearch.com.